Hi everyone. Now we are going to answer the activity number 8, application controls for transaction processing. Question number 1. Why input controls can be said as the most essential application control in an enterprise? So input controls can be said as the most essential application control in an enterprise because it helps ensure the validity, the accuracy, and completeness of data entered into an AIS, where data that are rejected at the time they are input can be more easily corrected. It is not cost-effective to screen accounting data continuously throughout the processing of an AIS. It is vital that an AIS use accurate data in later data processing operations. This protects master files from inaccuracy and safeguards computer processing in subsequent stages of the data processing work. And AIS cannot provide good outputs if it does not start with good inputs. Question number 2. What are the 3 categories of input control? Discuss what each does, including the important terminologies used to describe the process of each. So the first category of input control is observation, recording, and transcription. An organization often finds it useful to install more observation control procedure to assist in collecting data that will be recorded. One such control procedure is the introduction of a confirmation mechanism where customers are required to sign and therefore confirm a sales order. The data observation process can also make use of dual observation. And under this control procedure, the accuracy of the data observation is enhanced. It is because more than one employee participates in the process. In some organizations, the dual observation control procedure is supervisory, where the supervisor of the employees involved to collecting data to confirm the accuracy of the data gathered by the employee. Once the accounting data have been collected, they must be recorded. In some instances, automated data collection and recording are not feasible, and an initial source document must be prepared manually to encourage accuracy in the data collection and recording process. One example is to use pre-printed recording forms, such as the inventory receipts. So this form ensures that all the data required for processing have been collected and also enhance accuracy in the recording process. When using transcription, the data on source documents should be organized to facilitate the transcription process. Thus, well-designed, pre-printed source document forms are an important input control because they encourage adherence to the general principle of source document and computer input compatibility. The second category is edit test. So it examines selected fields of input data and reject those transactions whose data fields do not meet the pre-established standards of the data quality rather. It can also be coordinated in what is called a redundant data check to ensure data accuracy. The idea is to encode repetitious data on a file or transaction record, thereby enabling a later processing test to compare the data items for compatibility. Lastly is the additional input control. It is possible for a data field to pass all of the edit tests previously described and still be invalid. A bank might use the incorrect account number when processing a customer's transaction. Thus, the additional control procedures are required for this error to be detected. One control procedure is to incorporate a validity test into the data processing routine used to update the master file of bank records. With this approach, any transaction for which there is no corresponding master file record would be recognized as invalid and rejected from the transaction sequence, and it would be returned for correction. Question number 3. What are processing controls? What are the two classifications of processing controls? Explain what each does, including the important terminologies used to describe the process of each. So processing controls focus on the manipulation of accounting data after they are input to the computer system. It is the ability to monitor and adjust a process to give a desired output. It is used in industry to maintain quality and improve performance. An important objective of processing control is to contribute a good audit trail. So the two classifications of process control are control totals and data manipulation controls. So, control totals, it is an accounting term used for confirming key data such as the number of records in an operation. One procedure is to batch the checks in separate bundles of, say, 200 checks and prepare a special batch control document to serve as a control on the content of each bundle. The total dollar amount represents the batch control total. A control total that involves a dollar amount is called a financial control total. The accounting information system also use non-financial control totals, which compute non-dollar sums. A similar control is a record count. With this control procedure, the number of transaction items is counted twice. Once when preparing transactions in a batch, and again when actually performing the data processing. The second classification of process control is data manipulation controls. So, once data have been validated by earlier portion of data processing, they usually must be manipulated in some way by computer programs to produce decisions useful information, such as a report. Second is data manipulation controls. Once data have been validated by earlier portion of data processing, they usually must be manipulated in some way by computer programs to produce decision-useful information such as report. Ordinarily, this is accomplished by examining software documentation, system flowcharts, program flowcharts, data flow diagrams, and decision tables can also function as controls because they help system analysts do a thorough job in planning data processing functions. After computer programs have been coded, they are translated into machine language by an error testing compiler. The compiler controls the possibility that a computer program contains programming language errors. A computer program can also be tested with specially designed test data that expose the program to the exception conditions likely to occur during its actual use. Question number 4. What is the objective of output controls? What are the two major types of output controls in an IT environment? Explain what each does, including the important terminologies used to describe the process of each. So the objective of the output control is to ensure the output's validity, accuracy, and completeness. So the two major types of output controls in an IT environment are validating processing result and regulating the distribution and use of printed output. So validating processing result is the validity, accuracy, and completeness of computerized output in AIS can be established through the preparation of activity listing document processing activity. This listing provides complete, detailed information about all changes to master files and thus contribute to a good audit trail. Organizational employees use such activity listings to trace file changes back to the events or documents that triggered these changes and thereby verify current file information of printed information as valid, accurate, and complete output. Second, regulating distribution and use of printed output. One of the more compelling aspects of outputs control deals with the subject of forms control. Usually, these forms are pre-printed with the company's name, address, and bank account number. Control over the form's check writing is vital. The most common type of control used with computer-generated check writing procedures is the coordination of a pre-printed check number on the printer form with the computer-generated number that is printed in the same form at the same time. The numbers on these pre-numbered forms advance sequentially and are prepared by the form supplier according to the specification of an organization. Computer reports often contain sensitive information, and it is important that such information is restricted. The most common approach to distributional controls is through an authorized distribution list. For each output report, distribution is limited to authorized users only. In these instances, a notebook or log of pickups can be maintained and the pickup employee will sign the book. The employee's verification numbers is recorded for security purposes at the time the report is taken. After sensitive reports are no longer needed, it is important to properly destroy them. Shredding reports is a stronger control than throwing them away because discarded reports can be retrieved from trash bins.